Welcome, old friends and new. Welcome to this time together tonight. I'd like to bring in a good friend of ours, a poet by the name of Wendell Berry. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark.
A Liturgy for the Night by Padraig Otwama. On the first night, God said, "Let there be darkness," and God separated light from dark. And in the dark, the land rested, the people slept, and the plants breathed. The world retreated the first night, and God said that it was good. On the second night, God said, "There will be conversations that happen in the dark that can't happen in the day." The second night, and God said that it was good. On the third night, God said, "Let there be things that can only be seen by night." And God created stars and insects and luminescence the third night, and God said that it was good. On the fourth night, God said, "Some things that happen in the harsh light of day will be troubled. Let there be a time of rest to escape the raw light." The fourth night, and God said that it was good. On the fifth night, God said, "There will be people who will work by night, whose light will be silver, whose sleep will be by day, and whose labor will be late." And God put a softness in the heart of the darkness. The fifth night, and God said that it was good. And on the sixth night, God listened, and there were people working, and people crying, and people seeking shadow, people telling secrets, and people aching for company. There were people aching for space, and people aching for solace, and God hoped that they'd survive. And God made twilight and shafts of green to hang from the dark skies, small comforts to accompany the lonely, the joyous, the needy, and the needed. The sixth night, and God said that it was good. And on the last night, God rested, and the rest was good. The rest was very good. And God said that it was very good.
So let us join together as a collective in meditation on this idea of darkness. Our friend darkness that tells us that we need rest. That we all collectively need some rest. There are many religious traditions that teach that darkness is thought of as what lies underneath all of creation. And so our meditation practice invites us to explore that. So if your eyes aren't already closed, I invite you to close your eyes. And notice, even as you close your eyes, that you've entered into a darker space. That there's nothing to see here, that you can rest in this space. There's no task to do, nothing to find. Simply be with the darkness. You may notice as you're sitting with the darkness that your eyes want to look at the subtle colors and shapes and images. And I invite you, as part of this practice, that when you do that, just come back to focus on the darkness only. Like you're in a cave that is pitch black. That space for rest. A space also where birth happens. Where we move from non-being to being. And I invite us all now to breathe into the space. And as you breathe in this darkness, connect with one another, inviting our collective energy to join together, even as we sit in this space of darkness. So one of the questions that arises for us as we welcome the collective into the darkness, the space of the darkness, is, are we sitting in the space of the tomb or the womb? Is there something that the darkness, the wisdom of the darkness, is asking us to let die in our collective selves? And what needs to be born from this sacred darkness? And so for the next 2 minutes, let's just sit with those questions. What needs to be born? What needs to be let go of? Oh, great spirit, great mystery, God, beloved, all that is. We offer this time to our collective unfolding. May we be here with all of the small deaths, all of the large deaths, and all of the small births and large births, and all of the beauty of the darkness. Amen.
The universe was created in an unimaginable burst of consciousness. That universe, in turn, birthed galaxies, solar systems, and countless entities we have yet to discover. In the process, it birthed our Earth. It birthed the power that lights and heats us, as well as the dark that enfolds us. Dark matter makes up 85% of the total mass of the universe. The dark depths of the ocean created the beginnings of all life on Earth. The dark channels of our bodies house the seeds that create us, and the dark protective womb grows and nurtures that life, making it whole before sending it into the world and the light. The earth beneath us, deep in its dark recesses, churns as an endless labyrinth of intelligences and creative energy that sustains all we see around us and us. At this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, the earth is a refuge of rest and regeneration before offering up new life to the lengthening days of spring and a new season of growth. What has been most resonant for me for some time now is that the key to resolving the many, many challenges we face today in the world is to stop, to listen, and to feel the earth in ways that most of us have long forgotten. I want to read a short passage from a beautiful book called Sacred Earth, Sacred Soul by John Philip Newell. We know things in the core of our beings that we have not necessarily been taught. And some of this deep knowing may actually be at odds with what our society or religion has tried to teach us. We must reawaken to what we know in the depths of our being, that the earth is sacred, and that this sacredness is at the heart of every human being and every life form. To awaken again to this deep knowing is to be transformed in the ways we choose to live and relate and act. This was one of 3 books that I read before a spiritual journey I took to the sacred island of Iona off of Scotland in September. From the moment I put my feet on that Scottish soil, I felt ancient soul stirrings bubbling up. I stood and walked on the earth of my ancestors, the earth of the oldest rock formations we know on the planet at 2 to 3 billion years old, and the particulars of the earth and spirit of Iona that determined how its unique culture unfolded, and to this day, it is a marvel of inclusion and unity. I stood and walked on that island barefoot as much as possible, on soft, wet grass, on dirt roads, rocks, and sand, and when not barefoot, very consciously in my shoes. This connection was an unfolding revelation for 9 days. It carried me on a journey that lives throughout me now as a key to the reintegration with what I have forgotten and what can make me whole. We have for millennia been living under systems of culture and language that support ways of life that have in no small measure divided us, categorized us, created hierarchical values for us. We've created polarizations like right and wrong, good and evil, and assigned dark and light, black and white to those qualities, and then those qualities to people. And that lives on and throughout our entire cultural beingness in explicit and implicit ways. The work we've undertaken at One Spirit with anti-racism and decolonization is essential to the process of reconnection, and we must unearth these cultural manifestations that have been working on us for hundreds and hundreds of years. We must unearth them, undo them, redo them, and discover our wholeness and our unity with each other and with all things of and on this earth. So, I invite you. Go out and stand on the earth, barefooted as much as you can. I know it'll be cold right now, but that's cool. And let it rise up in you. Feel it and let the resistance soften. Feel the ancestors, feel the history, feel the soul of existence and your connection to it. Embrace the dark and unifying threads of constant creation in all its forms and throughout all the earth. Let it nurture you. Let it challenge you, grow you, transform you. Feel it until you understand on a whole other level that we must continue and deepen the work to bring us back to a fully integrated beingness, a belongingness, the one spirit that lies at the heart of that original consciousness that created the universe and birthed our home. Mother Earth. Thank you very much.
Winter's Cloak by Joyce Rupp. This year, I do not want the dark to leave me. I need its wrap of silent stillness, its cloak of long-lasting embrace. Too much light has pulled me away from the chamber of gestation.
Let the dawns come late. Let the sunsets arrive early. Let the evenings extend themselves while I lean into the abyss of my being.
Let me lie in the cave of my soul, for too much light blinds me, steals the source of revelation.
Let me seek solace in the empty places of winter's passage, those vast dark nights that never fail to shelter me.
So as we bless all of us going on our way and into the rest of this evening, we take just some words from David White, another dear poet, and his Sweet Darkness. And so we know this to be true, that sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn anything or anyone that does not bring you life alive is too small for you. To learn anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. So we offer this blessing that we may all come from this generative darkness into the vastness and spaciousness of what brings each of us alive for our own fulfillment, for what we may offer to those we may know, for the healing of all of our kin, all of our species, all of the species we live with, of this earth, for the benefit of all sentient beings. And we also know that there is spirit in the darkness. And so we offer a little something, something from Aretha. Ashe, Aho, Amen, and so may it be.
I am getting the spirit in the dark. I'm getting the spirit in the dark. People moving, oh, we're grooving, just getting the spirit in the dark. Tell me, sister, how do you feel? Tell me, my brother, how do you feel? If you feel like dancing, get up and let's start dancing. Start getting the spirit. Start getting the spirit in the dark. In the dark. It's like Sally Walker sitting in a saucer. That's how you do it. It ain't nothing to it. Rise, Sally, rise. Put your hands on your hips, cover your eyes and move. With the spirit, with the spirit, move. Move with the spirit, with the spirit. Oh, move. Move with the spirit down there now. Move with the spirit. Are you getting the spirit? Yeah. Are you getting it in the dark? Yeah. I wonder, are you getting the spirit? Get the spirit in the dark. Yeah. People are moving. Yeah. Everybody's grooving. Just getting the spirit. Start getting the spirit. Are you getting it in the dark? In the dark. It's like Sally Walker sitting in her saucer. That's how you do it. Now get on up to it. Rise, Sally, rise. Put your hands on your hips, cover your eyes and move with the spirit. With the spirit. Oh, move with the spirit. With the spirit. Move with the spirit. With the spirit. Now move with the spirit. I think I got it. All of my brothers, move with spirit. All of my sisters, move with spirit. Move with spirit. With spirit. Move with spirit. Keep on moving with spirit. Keep on grooving with spirit. Move with spirit. Keep on grooving with spirit. Get your hands. With spirit, I know you say. Get your feet. With spirit, lay on the beat. Oh, move with spirit. Move with spirit. Oh, move with spirit. Move with the spirit. Yeah. Move with spirit. Yeah. Spirit. Yeah. Move with spirit. Oh, right on. With spirit. Move on. With spirit. Right on. With spirit. Move on. With spirit.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. What a beautiful, beautiful celebration of all that we are, darkness and light, embracing, welcoming, all of it. We are continuing our celebration of One Spirit's 20th year. And in August, when we celebrated our birthday, we heard from a number of people who were part of the very first One Spirit class. Our service this evening was offered by members of the classes of 2011 and 2012. So right in the middle of One Spirit's 20 years. And thank you so much to Nathan, David, Leslie, and Brad. At this point in the evening, normally Eileen Sameth would be speaking and welcoming you. Eileen is not able to be with us this evening because her mother is entering her final days, and Eileen and her family are keeping vigil at her mother's bedside. So our loving thoughts and prayers hold them in this sacred, excruciating yet incredibly beautiful time. We're going to hear now from two more people from the class of 2011 who will share with you just a bit about what One Spirit has meant in their lives.
Hi, everyone. So sorry I can't be with you in person tonight. Blessings in this season of light and happy 20th anniversary, One Spirit. My journey with One Spirit began in 2009. And during my admissions interview, I told Susan Turchin that I wanted to complete the program in 1 year. Why rush, she asked. And that got me thinking. I decided then that I would take 2 years to explore my spiritual journey and develop my skills for ministry. But little did I know then it would become a 13-year relationship. I began at One Spirit with a very simple goal: to be able to officiate weddings. And what I received and the ways I have grown are far beyond anything I could have ever imagined. My spiritual practice has deepened. I've learned to go from my head to my heart. I am better able to meet others where they are on their spiritual journeys. And I have met some of the best people, many of you who are watching this tonight, whose impact on my life continues. It has been such a blessing to be a student, to have been able to teach. I once taught for a number of years, actually, the spiritual care of the dying to first-year students. And then I had 4 amazing years as a second-year dean. And I have to say, I learned so much from the students who I was called to guide. And all along the way, the relationships that have formed have truly made a difference in my life. From the Sacred Sisters, my first-year study group, to my dear Anam Cara, Bridget Beckman, to David Wallace, whose passionate teaching inspires the way that I preach, to Diane Burke, who always reminded me in her teaching that we are to be portals for spirit. And that is what I hope and strive to do in my ministry, to bring the passion, the spiritual consciousness, and that truly an approach of accepting people where they are to what I do. So how has One Spirit impacted my life? I wouldn't be where I am today as a congregational minister serving an interdenominational spiritual community if it wasn't for One Spirit. And so I thank you, I honor you, I love you, I'm so very grateful for you. Thank you, and blessed be.
Happy holidays, One Spirit. I'm Reverend Mara Benner from the class of 2012, and it is such an honor for me to be with you virtually tonight. I so love thinking about One Spirit and how it has been really such a pivotal change for me personally and professionally. I was thinking back on it, and I remember during seminary that at the last 2 years of the class, during that last week, we were asked to summarize our experience. And I remember thinking about the 4 Eyes commercial and how the person walked in with their current set of glasses, and then they were given these brand new glasses and were able to see a whole new perspective. And that's what it felt like for me going through seminary. Was I had this one view, and then I had a reframe, and I began to see this world in a whole new way, a way of co-creating with spirit, and a way of being able to see a world of possibilities through that. So being able to hold both the level at 30,000 foot and being able to see it from a spiritual perspective, but also being able to also view it in just the old glasses, the day-to-day getting through life as it is. And both perspectives are really important, but it's that 30,000 foot level, that spiritual level, that is tremendously helpful when we're going through difficult times. And so I just recently had a conversation with Eileen and was talking to her about how during COVID, I went through some transformational changes and really a lot of loss that I hadn't expected. I remember that I all of a sudden one day just realized that there was a chance I was going to have a divorce. I was going to lose our house and I was going to potentially lose my business. And it was the One Spirit training of being able to keep that 30,000 foot level and that spiritual consideration at the same time that I was going through all the changes that I went through that really was helpful. I found peace as I was taking some very tough steps that needed to move forward. And I'm very grateful to One Spirit for that. And then professionally, I'd just like to add that when I went through seminary, I was in leadership and doing corporate work in healthcare. Never in a million years imagined that I would use my seminary in my professional work, but I'm so honored now to be able to offer what I call integrative executive coaching, which is helping professionals be able to work with their mind, body, spirit template for their own success in both their professional careers and personal. So it is all due to One Spirit. Thank you so much and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you so much to Sue and to Mara. For those of you who don't know Mara, she was also a member of One Spirit's board for a number of years. Gave wonderful, wonderful service to this community. As I continue to reflect on One Spirit's 20 years, one of the things that is a source of great joy to me is knowing the countless lives that are touched through all of your loving service. I had a teacher once who said, extend the reach of your fingers. And through all of you, One Spirit has extended the reach of love, of compassion, of service, of inclusion, of honoring what is best and most beautiful in the human spirit, while also holding space for our very imperfect humanity. Another thing that has been a source of incredible joy for me has been witnessing year after year after year a group of strangers coming into the One Spirit program from very diverse generational, socioeconomic, educational, religious, ethnic, occupational backgrounds, people who otherwise might never cross paths with each other or develop relationship. And over the course of 2 years, starting very often in the very first weekend, grow into a loving, inclusive, spiritual community. And so I've given a lot of thought to what is it that allows that miracle to happen so consistently, so consistently. And there are a few things that really come to mind. The first is that everything we do at One Spirit is heart-centered. One of the things I often hear people say about One Spirit is, you open hearts. You open hearts. And to me, that means that we support people in connecting and living from the profound capacity for love and compassion for ourselves and for others that resides deep in the human heart. When we're able to live that way, we feel most authentically ourselves. And very naturally, we also somehow feel at home. We've all heard the phrase, home is where the heart is. But I think it goes a bit further than that. I believe that the real truth is home is where the heart is open. Home is where the heart is open. And that's one of the things that we discover again and again and again at One Spirit, and why this community feels like such a home for so many of us. Second, I think that part of the magic of One Spirit is that we do this work of opening the heart within the container of creating authentic spiritual community. The activist Grace Lee Boggs wrote, "Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual." Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. In other words, it is the primary vehicle of transformation of consciousness. The feminist activist and author and social commentator Bell Hooks wrote in her book, All About Love, "There is no better place to learn the art of loving than in community." And that's really because creating genuine community invites and even demands that we do the challenging and humbling work of recognizing, taking responsibility for, and working with our own reactivity and our shadow projections. Only by doing this rigorous inner work can we possibly clear the way for genuine acceptance, appreciation, and love to blossom. Also, in community, we're seen and affirmed for the gifts we bring, the birthright gifts we have brought into this life. The gifts that we offer not only through the things that we do, but also simply through who we are, through the quality of our presence and being. And once we have experienced being affirmed in those gifts, the most natural thing in the world is to recognize and lift up the gifts we see in others. Finally, at One Spirit, we don't just teach or talk about transformation. We have a deep, abiding trust in people's capacity to grow and transform, and a powerful commitment to support them in that process. Real transformation often involves questioning, challenging, and even relinquishing old beliefs, assumptions, worldviews, and even identities. And that process can be unsettling, daunting, messy, even scary at times. Like when a caterpillar enters the chrysalis, the old form is dissolving and the new has not yet come into being. The community we create in our programs provides a container of patience and safety to hold people during their chrysalis time, and trust in the beauty of the butterfly that will emerge in time. Going through One Spirit, people don't simply gain knowledge and skills, although they do gain knowledge and skills. But more than that, they come out as changed people, as Sue mentioned and Mara referred to in their sharing. We come out more connected and more committed to our deepest values and our highest aspirations for ourselves and the world. And that really is how One Spirit has its greatest impact. Because, quite simply, changed people change people. Through our willingness to be transformed, we help to catalyze transformation around us. All of you are living testimony to that. And so we thank you so much for being here to celebrate this beautiful season, for being part of this community and family. And I wish you every blessing in this season and through the year to come.
Thank you, Diane. I am coming to you now in a different hat, other than minister doing a service. I'm Brad Learmonth, the president of the board, and I have been blessed to be on the board for a number of years now, and I have one more year left, and I would love to leave it in good hands. So I've come to you now with a part that I ask you to reach into another, what for some of you is a dark place. Dark not as in bad, but dark is a place that some of us must grapple with on some level. Shed assumptions and possibly woundings, shed perceptions of being inappropriate to bring up in a setting like this. But we are a community that needs to survive and thrive, and we have done a very good job of both to date. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about financial support for an organization we all love and many of us have walked that walk with. An organization that we want to continue to grow and deepen in its work and survive long into an uncertain future. And we know that the future is very uncertain. But one certainty we do have is the collective community of One Spirit and the transformation in all of its messy and revelatory work that Diane spoke about, that opens the heart and activates all of us as individuals, taking our own journeys, and as a community, going out into the world and offering what we offer. It's been a remarkable year for One Spirit Learning Alliance. I don't know how many of you have followed our work over the last several years or over the years, but the last few years have been daunting for everyone. And we have stepped up to that challenge, and we have much more work to do. But I'm prouder than ever to be serving at the organization at this time. It is a sacred container that profoundly changed my life, and I know that there are hundreds more who can say that. And I want to make sure that we can support hundreds more to walk that walk. So to celebrate our achievements and sustain our and grow our work, I'm appealing to you now for any support that you might offer as the year comes to a close. And I'm just going to highlight a few of the things that have been wonderful successes this year. We have just added a new thanatology program, the Art of Dying Institute, that will begin in February. I see David Renata put the donation link up on in the chat room. We've increased the diversity of our first year seminary class from 15% Black, Indigenous, people of color to 43%. That is a remarkable achievement in the last year. And my hope, my personal hope, is that that leads to transformational change in the community of One Spirit. We offer training to our staff on how to have difficult conversations in the classroom. We've completed a full operational review of our systems to ensure that they do not perpetuate racism unknowingly within our organization. And we support each and every program using our groundbreaking Fair Share tuition program, where students choose what they can afford to pay. So today I'm asking for your support that we can continue to bring these and new and innovative programs and more to the One Spirit community. We have so much more work to do as an organization the size we are, and we need to grow. We need to grow, and we need to meet the transformations and the unforeseen things that come up all the time, and we need your support. So I ask you for that tonight. I thank you for having that conversation with Spirit that allows you to stretch a little bit and do what you can, and anything is welcome. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. Good evening, everybody. I'm Reverend Darren Polito, the Director of Admissions here at One Spirit, and I'm here, I guess, to help get the house party started. I want to thank Brad and Diane and the others who led the beautiful service tonight. I really personally got a lot out of it. I'm now coming to you from Chicago, people. We have One Spirit staff in a different time zone. We are spreading the love further and further. So I am going to be hosting a little social dancing in a breakout room. There'll be 2 other breakout rooms for just casual conversation. You can also stay in the main room if you want and just see what arises. So with that, again, another thank you to everybody who has offered their service for tonight, and happy holidays, and come dance or go to another room and chit chat. Good night.